welcome back to my channel. It is a very gray and gross rainy day out in Barcelona. So it is more of a lighting candles, chilling kind of day at home. I've been getting some work done and I was like, you know what? I need to make a video just kind of giving a life update on living in Barcelona, living abroad, kind of what the future looks like and how I'm feeling about everything, because I think it's super important. And on a rainy day, that's the perfect time to do it. So today I'm gonna kind of be talking a lot about the realities of living abroad, especially my experience in the past year and a half living in Spain versus the 3.5 years prior when I was kind of living more lifestyle of the suitcase and shorter terms in each place. And then just kind of talk about my experience living in Barcelona and the pros and some of the cons and my thought process when it comes to my long-term view of living here or living in Europe or living abroad, whatever, and give you guys a little bit of an update on all of those things. I think they're really important topics before you move abroad, when you move abroad, even if you have already moved abroad. They're things to think about for the long haul. And also you might just relate to this. Like you might hear this video and be like, oh my God, I relate to everything she's saying, or you might disagree, and if you do, that's totally fine as well. To start off, I want to kind of talk a little bit about life updates and living abroad. So I feel like on this channel, I really always wanted it to be a place where I could build a community for people who are living abroad, moving abroad, and maybe are in a similar life situation or path of me. And I think I kind of fell off a little bit with that, and that is fully on me. And I really want to get back to making this channel just something where you guys can see a bit of life in Barcelona, see a bit of life abroad, but also kind of discuss the real aspects of working online and living abroad and living in a different country and what it's like to be 30 and living abroad and what it's like to be not married, not kids, and like all those kind of things. I really want to have this be about, you know, my life and that community and those people. And I want to try and help people who do want to move abroad. I want to give you tips and advice and information. And we have some really good videos coming up for digital nomad taxes and what you really need to know, and more visa updates for Spain for people who want to come and live in Barcelona or anywhere else in Spain on the digital nomad visa. That is also coming in a few weeks. So I have lots of information in terms of tips and knowledge coming for you guys, but I also want to share a bit of more of my life and more of me with you guys, and I think that helps to just connect more. And I love chatting with you guys, and when you message me on Instagram or when you comment on the videos, like it really does mean a lot to me, and I want to really work on building this community and building a space for people who are in a similar world or want a similar life could all come together. So that is a little update on the channel. And then in terms of living abroad, I think recently I've had a different perspective because this is the first time moving to Barcelona. I've been here since March of 2022. So it'll be over a year and a half now, I think. And this is the first time I'm actually physically fully moving to a place and calling that home. Before, I had always been in a place for a couple months, maybe, you know, for the pandemic, I was in Bali for a year, but that was, again, a short-term view. I knew I was never gonna live there forever. It was just until the world reopened. And prior to that, I was moving around every couple weeks or every week. And after I left Bali, it was a year of bouncing around to different places every 4 to 6 weeks. And so I didn't really have anywhere that I considered home outside of where I grew up, obviously. And so now, setting my life up somewhere, I think there are definitely things that you think about differently. And also the length of time you spend abroad, I think also starts to change the way you think about things. And so when I left the US at 26, I had no intention of ever moving back. And I was like, get me out of America. I need to leave. I don't want to be here. I don't relate to the normal person. I want to see the world. I don't want to be in this consumerism place. And I didn't want that keeping up the Joneses, work 80 hours a week to prove that you work so hard kind of lifestyle. I just wanted to free myself of that and try and figure out who I was. And so I always really never missed home. Like I genuinely didn't miss it. I obviously missed my family and friends. That is something that'll never change. But I miss them, but calling and video chatting and those conversations and going home once a year was enough for me. And I think now, living abroad for 5+ years, it's changed a bit. And I think I'm starting to realize that I'm now 31 years old and my parents are gonna start getting older and I'm missing more and more from home. And so I think for me, I'm really trying to figure out a way to balance it more. Maybe going home 3 times a year for a month on an end, or maybe going back for like 3 months and coming back to Spain. I don't fully want to move back to America because I feel like I still don't fully connect with it. When I go back, I don't miss New Jersey. I don't miss my hometown. I don't miss the life in my hometown. I don't miss the life back there. But I really, 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 really miss the people. And I think that it's starting to weigh on me a bit more the longer I'm away. And the more I'm missing with my friends with their kids, the more I'm missing people get older, people passing away. I think that kind of all does play a part into it. And I don't know if I'll ever fully move back to the US, but I'm trying to put myself now in a financial situation to where I can afford to kind of spend more time between the two. And maybe you relate to that and maybe you don't. But I think the longer you live abroad, sometimes it goes either way. That is so far from your current reality that it becomes your norm that you don't see people and then you're like fine with it. Or you're abroad for so long and you start to realize you actually do miss a lot of those aspects and that you want to kind of just not be away 24/7. And it's weird because I don't know how to conceptualize a thought in my head because again, I still don't love America. So it's like, it's so hard. And I think the hardest moment, I actually think the turning point for me was when my family came to visit me this summer and they were in my world in Barcelona. And like I said, I love living in Barcelona. I think the energy of the city is amazing. I think it's an incredible city. The community is great. The lifestyle here is so good. And I am actually fully obsessed with the city. But when my family came to visit me and they were in my world, in my bubble for once, and then they left, that was probably the hardest homesick moment I've ever felt. And again, it wasn't for a place, it was for people. But them leaving my world and realizing that they're never gonna really be in my world. Like it's always gonna be me having to go back to their world was a really tough thing to think about and really tough thing to conceptualize and try and figure out how I felt, like what was the best option and movement for me at that point. And so I've been really like toying with this idea of how to live happily and do both things, living abroad and seeing my family in America. Sorry, it was a bit of a ramble, but I think that's like, it's so important to talk about the hardships of living abroad as well. And I think missing your family and friends is always going to be probably the hardest part. The convenience factor, yeah, of course. I would love if there was something like a Target here in Spain where I can just go and get everything. That'd be wonderful. And obviously some things are easier to do at home because that's how I know it. And also America is just so about consumerism that makes it so easy for you to buy whatever you need. And so obviously there's little things like that get annoying sometimes. But in general, I think the family part is just the hardest when it comes to living abroad. So it's kind of been something I've been dealing with recently. But I also think other parts of living in Barcelona has made me look at the city differently. And maybe not even Barcelona as a whole, but maybe like being on the digital nomad visa. And this is something I really want to talk about because I think it's so important, is the fact that you have to understand the financial situation you're putting yourself into before you do it. So for example, I don't think everyone fully understands, and some people do. Some people do get it and they do their research and I think they grasp it a bit more. But taxes here on the Spain Digital Nomad visa, unless you're an employee, you do not qualify for the Beckham law, which is at 24% flat tax rate. You're gonna be paying progressive tax rates in Barcelona. They're high. or in Spain in general. Spain is high. Spain is not a country that is pro like entrepreneurs. It actually, I think, makes it way harder for entrepreneurs to benefit at all from opening their own business here. It obviously, if you registered in Spain, you might have a bit of a different situation, but especially if you're just autonomo, which means freelancer here in Spain, you're screwed. Like, you are screwed. And I've paid in the US before, and obviously I pay now here, and there is a big difference. And so I honestly think that there is a comparison to make because the lifestyle is less here. So your rent is less here. For example, my apartment that I live in, we have a 4-bedroom apartment. I would say 3. 1, I don't know how they classify as a bedroom. 3-bedroom apartment, really. And we pay 1,600 euros a month, and we're pretty much in like a main part of the city. You couldn't get that in the US. Like, you can't pay 1,600 euros, which would, I think it's like 1,750 in a major metropolitan city. And with an apartment our size, it's just not gonna happen. So the rent is less. The groceries are way less. We spend 300 euros a month on groceries for 2 people. Wild. You would spend 300 a week in the US for probably 2 people. And going out to eat is much cheaper. We can go out to dinner for the 2 of us and spend 50 euros and actually get like a full dinner, drinks, appetizer, all of the above. Drinks are cheaper. A glass of wine's like 3 to 5 euros here. You can get them even for 2 euros in some places. So a lot of that aspect is less. And I do think it's something to consider when you're kind of making the decision on what you want to do and where you want to live. Sorry, I had to move. My back was not comfortable, but I think it's an important decision to think about in terms of lifestyle and cost of living. So obviously, like I said, cost of living in Spain, gonna be way lower. And it is higher in Barcelona. If you go outside of Barcelona, outside Madrid, it's gonna be even cheaper. So there's something to consider. However, the point I'm trying to make when I'm circling back to is the fact that the taxes are so high that I feel like it makes it hard to build wealth in Spain. Like, long-term wealth, I think, is much harder because if you're making especially foreign income, your social security contributions and stuff here are high. Like, we're talking 450 euros to almost 600 euros a month contribution to social security. And then that's not your taxes, that's outside of your taxes. And then obviously the taxes are quite high, the brackets are really high, and you even pay more here. Like, I was at a networking event last night and I met a girl who's from Germany, and she was like, it's way higher here than it is even in Germany. And so it gives you a little bit of perspective. Spain is just a very high tax country. And so there's obviously things you need to think about, and I did consider these thoughts, don't get me wrong, before I made the move, and I don't regret moving. I do not regret moving whatsoever. I love my life here. I love my friends here, the people I've met here, the way I'm able to, like, my day-to-day everything I love that I do. But it makes me, or my, like, Harry and I, my boyfriend, have had conversations to where it's just, I don't think a forever place. Like, I don't think I could see myself here forever because I just don't think the tax situation is beneficial at all. But at the same time, and obviously we're gonna say the pros and cons to each thing, you're contributing more to Spain, therefore you should be getting more on the back end, such as healthcare. If you're pregnant and you have a baby, you aren't gonna spend as much as you have to have a baby as you would in the US. Your healthcare, there are no co-pays, there's no excess pays. If you're paying in Social Security, your healthcare is free. So it's not all bad by any means, but it does make me question sometimes just the overall general wealth. And I did consider these before I moved here, and I think it wasn't until maybe I saw the financial money coming out of my pocket that I started to feel it a bit more. And I think that maybe that has impacted my thought process a little bit more. And it's funny too because, like I said, I love living in Barcelona. So it's like this conundrum that I try and go back and forth with in my brain of what is the best choice and role. And I know that we're gonna be here for the next year and a half until our visa is up, and then we can decide and make a decision from there. So I don't want this video to be like a shit on Barcelona video, because that's not what it is. But these are real things that I wanted to talk through because I think they're important to think about, especially when you're living abroad, or important to think about if you're picking Barcelona. But I don't want it all to be negative. I want to kind of circle back to the positives of Barcelona and talk about living abroad and stuff. I do think that the community and the people you can meet in the city is absolutely incredible. I went to a networking event last night for women entrepreneurs and met some really cool people. And I think there's a lot of opportunities like that in this city to meet people from all over, from Spain, from Europe, from North America, South America. Like, it is a very mixed pot of cultures here, and you can meet a lot of really cool people. And I think the people who move to Barcelona really are in a different mind and headspace than I would say the people who are obviously still living at home, and no hate to them, but it's just a different mindset. And so you can kind of meet a lot of people who share the same values as you or want a similar lifestyle that you've always dreamed of. And so being able to connect with those people is incredible. And there are so many networking events. The one I went to was at Juno House, which is it's a membership for women who can go and co-work there. They have workout classes, they have a cafe, they have a podcasting studio, they have a bunch of other stuff set up there. So only women can actually be members, and it's quite awesome, and they have really cool events. And so I went to one last night. But there's a digital nomad meetup group that happens every Wednesday, and they're having even more events. Like when I first moved here, it was every Wednesday at this tiny bar, and I would say probably 30 to 40 people came, which was awesome, and you still got to meet people. Now they have multiple events, and it's hundreds of people who end up going throughout the weeks and stuff, and so you can really meet a lot of cool people from those events for sure. I highly recommend them. But even outside of that, no matter what you're really into, if you are a hiker, if you're into content creation like me, or if you're a business owner, or if you're into the arts, you're creative, you're music, whatever, there are so many groups and events for people who are interested in the same thing as you. So I feel like Barcelona offers so much in that sense, so much in the community of everything. And I think that's one of the most beautiful things about here. And on the back end of that, with all the community events, is also just the events in Barcelona in general. Every weekend there's something going on, whether it's a food market, a food fest, some sort of vintage flea market you can go to, which is cool. There'll be different festivals in the squares, and there's different cultural events you can experience, and there's restaurants from all over the world, for different cuisines. And so I feel like it's so easy to find something really fun to do here. You have the beach, the mountains, the city. And with all the events and the fact that every weekend there's something going on that you can attend, I think that part of it is so cool. The endless opportunities to meet people and just do something different is one of the most incredible things about this city, I think. And for example, I'm going to an event tomorrow, which is called Offline Barcelona. And you literally go, and one of the restaurants has this really cute terrace inside. And so everyone goes before the restaurant opens, and it's only for everyone who bought the ticket to the event. And you lock your phone up, they have a little lock box for the phones, and you put your phone away, and you're at this terrace, and it's offline. You're not allowed to have your phone with you for those 2.5 hours. And there's journals, books, you can paint, do whatever, you can crochet. And it's just meant to help people shut off for a little bit, connect with more people, and just do things that are a bit more positive for your mind and to let go of some stress and just chill a bit. And so I'm really excited for that. So like I said, there's just so much going on here. And then obviously you have the history of Barcelona, you have all the museums, you have the really cool buildings. There is a lot to learn about the city. So I think on that end of it, it is incredible. And I think that's one of the main reasons that drew me to here, to living here. And one of the reasons that keeps me here so much, I know I can't really find that in a lot of other places in the degree that I can here in Barcelona. And so it is such a magical city, and I don't want this video to be a shit on Barcelona video or to just share negatives, because it is truly amazing. But there are points and moments that stick to my brain that make me just think about the longevity of living here. And I don't know, maybe in a year and a half, at the end of our visa, we'll extend it. Maybe we'll go somewhere else. I have no idea. I feel like I'm such a traveler that to be here for another year and a half, be here for 3 years total, and then extend longer would probably be mind-boggling to me. But maybe I'll be in that moment where I just feel so secure and so this is home, that I wouldn't want to go somewhere else. But I also feel like I love living in different cities. So who knows? Who knows what happens and who knows what the future holds. But I just wanted to make this video, and I hope it wasn't too much of a ramble, just to understand and clarify kind of the thoughts I have of living abroad, living in Barcelona, the pros, the cons, the visa, what you need to understand in terms of that and what you're getting yourself into, and just overall life and stuff. And so I hope you guys enjoy this video. I hope it wasn't too much, and I hope I didn't ramble for too long. But I want to share more just actual thoughts and processes of living abroad, what the day-to-day life is, and share, just more life in Barcelona with you guys. So I'm really excited, and I know from here on out, like, my brain is on making this community just a place where everyone can come and just enjoy the content, connect with one another, and if you want to be a part of this community, please hit the subscribe button. It means the absolute world to me. That way you don't miss any videos. I have, like I said, so much good stuff coming in terms of tips and knowledge for moving to either Spain or just living abroad, and how to make smart financial decisions, and also just bring you along the journey of kind of building my business more online and living abroad and how that all comes together. So like I said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and definitely make sure you subscribe if you don't want to miss the taxes video coming up, or the digital nomad visa update video coming up, or the new videos coming for the Barcelona vlogs that I'll be doing. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I'll catch you next one. See ya.